I have my things out on my table. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we're doing today. We're going to make some cards. There's a free download that goes, thank you, Donna. There's a free download that goes with this this card making we're going to do today. So I've called them mental moxie guide cards. Mental moxie guide cards. So let me take a moment to welcome everybody, say thank you for being here. I'm so glad that we got to go live because I wasn't sure it was going to work, but okay. On the bottom here is my freebie for those of you that want to have. There are 12. There might be 13 or 14 actually. I forgot I added extras. There are 12 mental moxie guide cards, things that you can cut up and you can put on the cards that you're making today or put them on the back of the cards. You could use them in your journals, however you want to use them. But they're ideas for how to keep ourselves centered and feeling up a little bit. I notice a lot of fear around the internet, so I'm working toward helping everybody get rid of the fears and the worries, because really fear and worry, anxiety, none of that is productive. Absolutely none of it. Now, it's easy for people to say, oh, don't be anxious, don't be fearful, and yet we are. So we have to do things, right? Or we have to think about things that we can do to not get into those spaces. So, for example, one of them is a news detox. Stop listening to the news. There's really nothing good on the news. There's nothing you're going to miss. It's the same 5 stories over and over and over again. You can kind of, if you keep track of it, I've done this once before, just to prove to myself, right? If you keep track of it, it's kind of the same garbage over and over and over and over again, and they're just feeding into our anxieties, and we don't really need that. There's nothing we can do about it. I mean, we're just one person. We can only do what we can do. We can't save the entire world. It would be nice to, but logically we can't really do that. So we have to work at saving ourselves, and that's kind of the point I want to get across. Oh, hi Laura, good to see you. I am working on getting everybody to let go of some of this fear. Now, we're never going to let go all of it because, there's lots of reasons. But we can work toward being better. I like to think of it like a garden. So I like the idea of, the more we feed the good plants, the more we take care of the weeds, the more room we have in the garden to breathe and bloom, and the more good stuff comes up in the garden. The better the plants, the stronger they are, the more blossoms you get, the more fruit you get, all of that. So I think of this as we're feeding our garden. So these are just some ideas, and we're going to get working on our cards. So you can download those. They are right on my website, and the website is artjournallife.com, and you can go to freebie or type /freebie, and it will bring you right there. So today I brought some cards. I'm going to explain some of this to you. So I think I'll turn over now to the overhead camera, and we will continue to talk. And voila, there we are. I bumped into my camera before, so forgive me, but I'm going to try to see if I can focus up, get us in a little bit better. I turned it just ever so slightly, I think. So that should be good. Okay, everybody can hear me? Yes, I think you're all good. Okay, so before I got here, I wanted to be prepared. So I took my index cards. Now we're working with index cards today. These are the cheapest index cards I've ever bought. They must have been very inexpensive, but they're so flimsy. So I took some gesso. I have the golden gesso. This jar is very old. But this is what I took, and I covered the cards in them so they had a little texture. Now I have a water jar over here, and I banged into it, and so I got a little water, so these are a little wet. But I prepared 4 cards. I'm going to show you what we're going to do. I did not take out my tape, which I really need. Let me see. Oh, here it is. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to show you with masking tape what we're going to do. So these are the cards beforehand. I started doing this a long time ago. I joined something called Daisy Yellow. She does an index card a day. Her name is Tammy Garcia. And in the summer, so June and July, she runs a 61-day challenge to make a little piece of art every day. So we make art on index cards. So this idea sort of came from there. The idea of using index cards for this came from there. So the card idea as a guide card, I've been making these for many years. I'm just going to show you a few I have here. So this is what we're going to do today, this sort of idea. So this says visionary on it. So I have these cards. These are all different sizes and shape. This one says let go. I actually cut this out of a magazine. Do what you love. So I used to use these, put them on my desk. I'd use them, and I'd pick something different every day. Imagine calm. So they were things for me to let go and do. Fluid dynamics, that was about movement. This was about awakening, adventure. So these are the kind of cards we're going to make. So I have some sayings for you over in the freebie. Believe in your dreams, live life. That says living life. And these are just some cards I had made prior, just to show you what we're going to try to recreate. So in the description, I said I was going to use everything, and that's pretty much what I plan on doing. So I'm going to take these cards and I'm going to treat them like they're one piece of paper. So I'm going to put a little masking tape and just tape them together. So I'm going to do, it doesn't have to be fancy or perfect. I just want to kind of, so that I can make them all at once. Now I'm only doing 4 here for, so we don't stay on here till midnight tonight, basically. I saved the stripe or the lined side. I saved that so that I could write on the back of it if I want, or I can put my guide card ideas. One of them is let go of worry and fear, with a little description on how you can do that. So you could just as easily probably use washi tape for this. I'm just taping them together ever so slight so that when I paint one, I paint all. That's the only idea here. Now you can see it's not perfect. There's holes here. It'll be fine. So I'm going to pick a color paint and I'm going to start painting. Oh, maybe I'm going to do my pencil first. So I, as you know, like to lightly scribble or draw designs on my paper. Now again, these have gesso on them. If you have good cards that are sturdy, you don't have to have gesso. So these cards that I had were very sturdy, so that you could see they're not at all flimsy. These were so flimsy that I just decided to do that. So this sounds crazy, but I'm going to take some white here, and I have these little tubes of Amsterdam. They're just standard acrylics, but I basically want to get this red to run a little bit, so I'm using white, and I'm just going to get a little, even though the card's white in the background, I just want to get this red to kind of run, mix in with the paint. Now you'll be able to make 13, 14, or you can add your own. Also, I'm giving you some ideas in the printout that I'm doing, the handout. It's a PDF download from my website, actually. But you could make up your own that you would like to have on your cards. You could use mine. We could brainstorm together for others that we might want to have. So I'm, in my usual, this is the background in my usual messy way, just laying down some paint. I'm going to take my brayer and I'm going to brayer. Now, this is a piece of deli paper behind here. Now, what I forgot to put in the description was that I like magazines for this job because I think we need sort of this, I'm going to call it a hero image for lack of a better terminology. So I have some things here that I cut out of magazines just to show you, and I'm just kind of letting these dry while we talk. So I pulled out some fruit that might help me remember to eat properly. I pulled out this lady jumping into some water. That might help me remember to have fun. I've had this Buddha cut out for a while. It's the laughing Buddha. I thought he could be fun. He might remind me to be lighthearted. I have some candles that I cut out to remind me that take time to relax. I had this, I don't know what I was going to do with this clay pot. I have this little go button, some pineapple, again going with the theme of eating well. I have this young child. It looks like she's in a bride's gown, or maybe she's making her communion or something, to remind me to be childlike. I have some flowers because being outside in nature is always good for all of us, no matter what. It's good to get light. It's good to be outside breathing the good, healthy air, all of those things. So I cut some images out of magazines so I could use them also on top of these cards. Now, I love my backgrounds messy like this, but I don't want them to be all real too dark because, I don't. So I want some light in there. That was the point to me, letting them dry a little bit. And again, I'm just getting color down. Sandy, that is such a great question. She wants to know what gesso is and why I use it. So gesso is sort of this very heavy, sticky substance. They say it's acrylic, so I believe that. It's white and it's like marshmallow fluff. Look at it. Now you can buy ones that are thinner than this. Some come in a drip bottle and they're much thinner than this, and others are much thicker. It doesn't really matter. It puts a coating on your paper so that paint, markers, whatever your mediums are, doesn't soak through to the back. But it also gives the paper a little extra tooth and a little extra body. So these cards were so flimsy, I was hoping it would give the cards a little more body. And that's why I used it. So you can buy, many companies make this. This is golden. They have the Crafters Workshop. Is it Crafters Workshop, I think. Also, Liquitex makes one. There are actually YouTube videos I think you can find that will show you how to make your own, which is very economical apparently. They make clear gesso, black gesso, red gesso I've seen. The black is very messy. I'm just giving you words of warning about that. But it's sort of, instead of like making your papers so if it were wet it would soak through, it prevents that from happening really. The point to it is for me just to stabilize these inexpensive cards that I had. And again, maybe to add some texture. You could see here the weight coming through, and that's the gesso coming through the texture, because I spread it with a key card, from a hotel like this. So I spread it with this, which you could do with your paint as well. And so it creates a lot of texture. So I'm just slapping paint on and not thinking too much about it. So I'm thinking, if you're here, why don't you tell us where you're from, whether it be a state in the US or another country. We'd love to hear where you're from. So why don't you put that in the chat and let us know where everyone's from. Because I really think I don't have an idea where you're all from. Now, in these beginning stages, I try to keep my colors, look at that mess. I try to keep my colors somewhat cool colors versus warm colors, so that I don't make brown, messy, mud looking. There's a place for that, but I like to keep my colors like this. Similar colors, similar color family. So warm colors versus cool colors. This is a yellow color. Yellow is one of those special colors. It could be both warm and cool. This would be cool color. These are more warm colors, although this is more purpley. I don't know. You could fight the cool and warm color point. But I try to keep them like this so that they're not mixing together, making a total mess. And so I get to this point and I start thinking, okay, now what? Now what do I want to do? What do I want to add here? So I brought along many things today. So I'm just going to show you quickly. I brought some stencils. So I have these number stencils. I have this moon and star stencil. This is kind of big for these little cards, so I don't know that I'd use that. I have this little doodad. I don't know, this is just a little design. I have this that came from PM Artist Studios, which I love, this little net stencil. Kind of like that. And when they send you your stencils, you get the offcuts, the cutout part, which I think is kind of cool. Like, I thought about using this, so maybe. Then I have these. I like these because there's multiple stencils in one sheet, so you could see there's 4 different stencils here. I thought about maybe using the flowers, and then the other one I like on this one are the, you could tell I like this one. I've used this a lot. So just for some background colors, just for some texture, layers, whatever. So I might work on that now. And I'm just looking for I had a sponge here and I don't really know what to do with it. So maybe we'll just use a brush, I guess. So I'm gonna do something like that. And I have my water-soluble crayons here, and I'm gonna add just a little black. So these are the Caran d'Ache water-soluble crayons. They make ones that are not water-soluble also. So be aware, these are Caran d'Ache Neo Color 2s. Those are the ones that are water-soluble. So I'm just gonna take my brush and I'm just gonna rub off some black, because I just really want like sort of a light touch here. I don't want like a lot of, if I used the acrylic black, it would be probably too black because I don't have my sponge here. So I'm kind of just doing one of these. And the point to it is I really didn't want anything too perfect. Probably because y'all know that I am not about the perfection. And then I saw this and I thought, maybe I'll use some of that. Now, this is just to create a background. They're not real noticeable. I like it like that. That's how I want it. So I'm okay with that. I might put some more color over top of this. I might go for a little white, get a little white back in here, and I'd probably use my brayer for that. So sometimes you have to get those started before the brayer's gonna do anything. So now, if you happen to have some really flimsy cards, like I do here, you could do a couple things. You could glue something to make this heavier. So this is another flimsy card. I could glue a second card to the back to make it a little bit more sturdy. That would work. You could glue this to some paper and then cut them out if you wanted. I'm not going to worry about it, to be honest. This is fine. So, I'm not giving it too much credence here. I'm not thinking about it too much. Now, I want to add a few more things before I get to the next level. So I'm going to look for some scraps, maybe. I wish I thought to bring my cutout words, which I think they're behind me, so I might still grab them and look. Sometimes I just like the look of the scrap paper on so something like this. I might tear this. I like the torn edge idea. So now I thought maybe that these cards, I'd make them somewhat similar. And that's why I'm doing them all the same color like this. You can make every card you make different. This is totally your design and up to you. This is just what I thought I would do. So no judgments here about that. I thought it would be cool to have them all have a similar color palette or a similar theme or what have you. So I kind of liked a little of this. So I might add something like that to one or two of them. So I might do that. And I always use Liquitex matte medium to glue. My favorite glue hasn't been on my desk in a while, and my favorite glue is Perfect Paper matte glue. So any of those work. I like things not shiny, so I look for things that are flat always in color. So let me get a glue brush here, or a glue stick, or maybe I'll use I'm just going to put a little glue here. And I'm going to use my card to put glue And, there's no perfect place. All I'm doing is trying to get some texture. This is tissue. This is a Tim Holtz tissue paper that I've had forever. This one that I'm adding. So I think what we'll do in a minute after I get this all glued down, I'm going to let it kind of set up a little bit. That's the only problem with the lives is letting things dry. So if you have questions, put them in the chat and I'll answer them. I'm happy to do that. I love that you guys are showing up. Thank you. So I love this Tim Holtz tissue paper because it becomes translucent. Gives you some texture, becomes translucent. Okay, I'm sorry. I was distracted by the fact that I feel like I'm hearing a lawnmower outside. There is snow out. So it can't be a lawnmower. Or I guess nothing should surprise me maybe. Okay. So these are the kinds of things I like to do. Just keep adding. Then I'll put a little more paint over. So these are not just like popping out there like they are. We want to give them a little kind of anchor them down, I guess I would say. I'm missing the one for there. Let's pick another piece. Again, you don't have to make yours all look the same. I just thought maybe I'd try this, making them all look like they belong to a card deck. So when I think about a card deck, I think about any of those motivational card decks, and that's kind of what this mental moxie is about. It's motivation to not sit in fear, worry, whatever you have. I'm going to read a couple of them to you because I feel like now would be a good time to do that. So do something for someone else. Bake or just write a note for someone who needs a little smile today. Spend time outside in the park. Take a walk, listen to the birds, notice all the beauty. Take photos to remember what you found. And then find ways to laugh. Listen to funny podcasts, binge watch your favorite sitcoms, etc. So the simple sentences, I have them bolded. So find ways to laugh. You could cut this out and put it right on the card. And then the directions you could cut up and put on the back of the card. You could write them on the back of the card. They're not very difficult. I'm sure you guys could figure it out without any problems. I'm kind of liking this. Let's see. The music is still going. Oh, it is? Well, let me take care of that. It should have gone off. I'm glad that you can't hear the lawnmower. Is that better now? Okay, that's crazy. I didn't know that music would stay on. Okay, so let's do, sometimes I just do, some white to kind of anchor things in. make it look like, oh, it belonged there. I use my roller, my brayer, whatever, and make it, some of it disappear into the background. And there you have that. And you can see how this paper, well, this one didn't as well because I didn't glue it as well, but these papers kind of disappear and become translucent. So there's that. The other thing that I thought I would do is I have some of this Daler Rowney acrylic ink, and I thought that I would do a couple drips maybe, just because, you know, I don't know, drips can be fun, right? So let's see how it goes. I'm going to make my card super wet now. Trying to get them to run. I kind of like what happened there a little bit. So they could be wetter, they could be juicier. I like what happened here. Can you see this one? How cool is that? I want this one down here to run. Let's try that. This one ran. Okay, so I might leave those like that. Now it's going to be a while for that to dry. So I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm going to show you what I would do. So I'm just cutting out my my bolded words, not with the directions, but you, like I said, could do you. You do what you think is right. So these are meant to give you some thoughts for each day. So in other words, you could just pick a card after you make them. This one says, find ways to laugh. Now, of course, immediately what comes to mind, but that laughing Buddha I had cut out. I don't know if he'll actually fit on this card. I hate that he's covering up so much of the card. But I would glue that down. You could use your glue stick or the matte medium. And this is still a little wet, so I don't know that I want to glue the Buddha down yet. But that maybe would go with my laugh one. I didn't put on anything about eating properly, but, you know, again, you have some fruit. You could always put some fruit down. I have these flowers. You could always put a flower down. So the idea is to have a hero image, something that makes you think about it, about whatever your card's about, and have it also be your direction. Find ways to laugh today. And then on the back, you would cut out the rest of the directions of what you could do. Listen to funny podcasts, binge watch your favorite sitcoms, whatever. You could write a whole note to yourself about that. And then you'd have a set of cards. I'm going to tell you how many there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There are 12. I thought I had 14 on there. So you'd have a set of 12 cards. Keep adding to them. Don't stop here. You definitely I felt the need to do that. You definitely could keep adding to these. So you could make a set of 24, you could make 52, you could make 100. You know, the 100-day project started, so that's got me thinking. I have this, I liked the way this looked, so I don't want to take too much of it off. There's no mistakes here in art journaling. It is what it is. We like everything we do. We let go and we just enjoy it for what it is, what the process is. Now I've got a lot of blue going on here, but I have to be honest with you, I don't hate it. So I think I'm going to take a little more glue and I'm going to glue my saying. So you would have 12 sayings that you would be able to glue onto your cards. And this card would be find ways to laugh. Now I have blue on my hands. You can see I got it everywhere. Once these are dry, don't do it while it's wet because sometimes, oh no, I guess it's all right. The masking tape peels up. Let it dry before you peel up the masking tape. And let me see if I can find, since the Buddha's too big and I don't want the Buddha on here, maybe I will cut out this little flower. I don't see questions. Did you guys have questions? Oh, you liked the music still going? You guys, I was afraid it would compete with my sound. I don't want that to happen. I can put it back on. That's interesting, and it's also good to know. See, I can't hear the music. Only you guys can. Right, so I'm cutting out this flower, and even though this isn't about laughing, I'm going to use this on mine as my hero image. So I use magazines, and I cut these things out of magazines also. And I often do that for these cards. Kind of want to put it here. Then maybe it would go on both sides, and I wouldn't mind that. So I'm going to have to cut them apart. So half would be on one side, half would be on the other card. And then you continue and decorate as you see fit. Now, no piece is done until you have some black. So I'll do something like that. Let's put a little white. This is a Stabilo Woody. These are actually children's crayons or water-soluble colored pencils. I do think it needs some. That's not working out so well there. Let's try this one. This is my Caran d'Ache. These are still wet, so making marks isn't always the easiest when the cards are still wet. You could also use, I have this China marker. I don't know if this will work on here. Yep. So this is just one of those China markers. And I just like to put more designs down. Maybe highlight this a little. Okay, and again, I would let this all dry nicely. Just adding different designs to the designs. Again, if I had more, if I had smaller, oh, I like this girl. I liked her a lot. Let's see. I had another something over here that I liked too, so. Oh, my candles. Let's do the candles. I like those. So this could just remind me to stop, be calm, and let's see. I think I'd go this way. I'm going to use some Oohoo glue stick for this. It will be quicker. And then I'm going to cut these apart so you can see them finished. I wouldn't peel off this masking though until the masking tape until later, because I don't want to rip the cards. There we go. So there's one. Actually, what I should have is my X-Acto blade. Would probably be easier. I'm sorry, I'm so concentrating that I'm not talking. Forgive me. Okay, there's two. And let's see how this one goes. There's another one, and there's another one. So now I have 4 cards, quickly made. I love it when I add the markers. I agree. So markers, any kinds of pens. It's harder, again, to do this now because they're so wet. Something you can't tell. But I love adding marks, mark making. I'm clearly going to have to glue that one down. But I like the way this looks. Again, you're going to cut these labels out. So since you've all been here this long, I'm going to give you the answers. You ready? So one of them is put your favorite music on and dance. Sing out loud at the top of your lungs. Call a friend and invite them to a tea party. I already talked about swearing off the news. You really don't need the news. Do something awesome for yourself today. Lose yourself in something like making art or the thing that you lose all sense of time with, whatever that thing may be. My other ideas. Do something for someone else. I already said. Spend time outside. I said. Discover things that make you happy. Make a list of all the things that make you happy. So these are cards you'd make up, and you'd get up in the morning or in the afternoon or when you want to think of something to do to take your worries away. This is what you're going to use these for. So I've just done 4 so that you could see the very basics. I would keep adding, but like I said, these are so wet today that adding right now is kind of futile because these things really don't want to. Some of them will add, but not all of them will make designs. I like to sometimes just outline. And this may all go away as you work, or as you put things on the paper. So that's it. And I always pick a piece of magazine, or you could do printables also. You could find things you like and print them out, and photos you have, etc., like your own photos. You could take your printer and copy, print these and shrink them so they're not so big on your card if they're too big. Those are other ideas that I have. So this idea of making what I've called mental moxie cards. Again, the download is on the website. Mental moxie cards, just ideas to overcome those days when we're struggling in fear, worry, stress, anxiety, whatever the things may be, anger, whatever. So the first one here that I didn't talk about is let go of your worry or fear. So find a small box with a cover. So when I think of that, I think of a jewelry box, but it could be anything that you have. So find a small box with a cover and write down your fears or worries, anxieties, whatever you have, on a piece of paper and put them inside the box. Close the lid. Know that this is a safe place to hold all of your concerns. Now take a short break and do something calming. So the box is holding all those fears and worries. You don't have to be thinking about them. And you're going to walk away from them for a little bit of time. And then when you're done, you could come back and take your fears and worries out, or you could just leave them in the box if they're happy there. You don't have to take them back. You could leave them and know they're safe, and you don't need them right now. And that's okay, and move on and do something else. So these are those 12 ideas. I hope that you guys will download them and like them. This is your cards. This is our demo for this week. I hope that you guys will do them and share them. Also, feel free to share in the Facebook group. For those of you that don't know, there's a Facebook group. And I don't have. I'll put it underneath in the comments when we're done on the YouTube video. So if you go to YouTube, underneath will be the Facebook group, and anybody can join that. But share anything you make, all your cards, whatever, even if it's not this card. If you do something different, share them in the group. We enjoy seeing everybody's work. Let us know how you made them, though. We like to know what you made them with. So if you could remember to tell us, I used acrylic paint, or I love the ink drips, so I used all these ink drips, and I love the way that came out. Whatever medium you used and however you made them. Again, I told you how cheap these particular index cards were, and they are, but they serve the purpose. So that's why, they're fun to make. These are things you could gather them together, leave them on your desk, put them in a box, but you could also make an envelope and stick them in your journals. So after they're dry, clearly, please. You could put an envelope in your journals. You could make the envelope or just decorate an envelope, and you could hold these in your journal and draw one every day for, just ideas for living your best life. So again, yes, I ended up kind of liking this color combination, which is cool. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. I'm glad. Thank you for saying it was a fun demo. I appreciate every single one of you. I hope that you'll like, share, and subscribe. That really helps me a lot, or us a lot. I'm trying to build the community. So we're going to go live again next week. And guess what? I didn't come here prepared to tell you what we're going to do next week. But I'll think of something and I'll let you know during the week. How's that? I didn't think about it ahead of time because I didn't have internet and I got a little distracted with the no internet, as you can imagine, I'm sure. So let me know what you do if you make the cards. I hope that you'll download the Mental Moxie guide card sheets and enjoy those. And we'll be back here every Wednesday, live at 3 p.m. Eastern time. We'll be here. So I'm glad to see everybody, and I hope you guys have a great week, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.